Hello, good morning everyone. Myself Dr. Savita Tidme. I'm working as assistant professor in Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nashik. I will be dealing with the subject economic zoology, and in the present lecture we will have a brief introduction on animal husbandry. Now here is the syllabus for economic zoology which we are going to study in this course. Animal husbandry, in which the rearing of different types of animals is been carried out. So under this poultry, piggery, dairy industry, wool industry, that we will going to study in a brief. Then economic importance of insect, both useful as well as harmful insects will be studying. Then economic importance of amphibia, reptiles and birds. Along with that, vermiculture industry in India and prawn culture is also going to be studied. Then nematodes, nothing but the parasitic roundworms of the animal and plant, also going to study. Then helminths as well as concepts of the coral reefs and its significance. Along with that, sponge culture and its importance in industry, a brief introduction on this topic also. Then parasitic protozoans and their role in human welfare, even soil protozoans and their role in the agriculture, and at the last the model animals in pharmaceutical industry, that will study in this course. Now economic zoology. Economic zoology, it can be defined as the branch of zoology that deals with the applications of zoological knowledge for the benefit of mankind. So application of a zoological knowledge, what do you mean by zoological knowledge? Okay, so zoology basically it is a branch of biology that deals with the study of animal. Okay, animal life, their anatomy, their morphology, physiology, their parasites. Okay, everything has been included in the zoology. Now this knowledge of the zoology or life cycle of the animal, habitat of the animal is used for the betterment of a human or mankind. Now this economic zoology, it also includes culturing of the animals for the mass production of things for human use. Okay, and eradication of harmful animals directly or indirectly. Okay, what it means, see here in the picture you can see here is the goat, here is the hen or rooster is there, then cattle and then fishes. So what these pictures depict, so it represent the useful animals. Okay, so goat meat is very famous in India, right? Even hen, their flesh as well as eggs are useful for us. Even cattle, they gives us milk. Fishes are again one of the very useful part of our diet, right? So these are the animals which are useful for human, their byproducts are useful for human. So it involves, means economic zoology that involves rearing of all these animals for the getting their either egg, either flesh, or either meat or fur or the byproduct. Okay, so these animals considered to be the beneficial to human. These are just representative example. Number of other animals are also there, like insects are also there, like honeybee, even you can say the silkworm, even the lac insect is also there, right? They are reared, they are cultured by the human for getting their byproduct, and these byproducts are used for the human betterment. Now, apart from these useful animals, number of animals are there which are harmful to human and his property. So these animals are eradicated, removed. Okay. Now here I have shown some pictures. Here is aphid, then cockroach, stored grain pest, Cytophilus oryzae, and then the mangostem boreritis. So like that, number of such a pest organisms are there which are causing damage to either agriculture or either stored grain or either the plants. So these treated as a harmful insects. Okay, so number of agricultural pest organisms are there which feed on the plant leaves, and ultimately absorbs the plant sap and release some kind of a sticky substance on the plant surfaces. So nutrients are get absorbed from the plant day by day, that result in again the drying of the plant. Even these insect also leaves the damaged part on the plant leaves. Ultimately these are later on followed by the fungal or bacteria, and then the plant suffer for many diseases later on. Okay, so these insects, they are said to be the harmful to the human as well as agriculture. Then come to the next one is representative of the harmful insect, nothing but cockroach, Periplaneta americana. So this Periplaneta americana, everybody have seen this cockroach, right? Now this is found to be present in where? It is found to be present in human houses, right? It is also found to be dwelling in the drainage pipes, in the toilets, everywhere. If you see these cockroaches, they are present. Now, as they are dwelling in toilets, drainage pipes, and same cockroach is dwelling in the kitchen, so it carries number of germs on their body parts, and these germs later on get transferred to the human food stuff as well as utensils. So this one is treated as a harmful insect. Now here comes to the next image, that is stored grain pest. So stored grain pest. Now, stored grain pest. Number of stored grain pest are there, just like this one, Cytophilus oryzae. Along with that, floor beetles are there, then pulse beetles are also there. These members, what they does? They used to eat the stored grain and make them internally hollow. So, leaving empty cases of the stored grain, right? Now, these stored grain pest making the grains unfit for human consumption. Even the economic value of the grains is also reduced. So such a grains which are affected by the stored grain pest are now unfit for human consumption. So stored grain pest are treated as a harmful insect. Now this one is the stem borer, mango stem borer. It is like that. Number of other stem borer, fruit borers are also there, which are destroying plants from internally and making the plant completely dry. Okay, so these are also treated as a harmful insect. So this economic zoology involves eradication of the harmful insect as well as culturing of the useful insects. Okay, now the animal husbandry. What do you mean by animal husbandry? Animal husbandry can be defined as a branch of agriculture that is related with the culturing of the animals for milk, meat, fur, and eggs. So this includes again care, maintenance, and inbreeding of the animals. So animals which are cultured like chickens, even pigs, cattle, buffaloes, sheep, goats, honeybees, lac insect, silkworm, like that. Number of other animals are also there which can be cultured for getting their byproduct and which are useful for human consumption. Here are different branches of animal husbandry I have listed. So the first is piggery, in which the culturing of pig is there. Poultry, in which culturing of the poultry, fowl you can say, is there. Dairy industry involves the rearing of the cattle as well as buffaloes and for getting the milk, right? Now, wool industry involves the rearing of silkworm, and apiculture industry involves the rearing of the honey bees. Then pisciculture involves rearing of what? Rearing of different types of fishes. And then lastly, the goat farming. Okay. Now, there are some benefits of animal husbandry, right? Now, one can ask a question, yes, if you go for the animal husbandry or animal rearing, then what is our benefit and how will we succeed in the animal rearing? Okay, here are some of the benefits of animal husbandry I have listed. The first benefit, it provides a subsidiary occupation to people living in a drought prone area, even in the hilly tribal remote areas, as well as, okay, the areas like where there is a less productivity, or areas like there is a less income generated through the agriculture. Okay, here in this case, what we said, in a drought prone area where obviously there is a scarcity of water, and because of that, the agriculture is not going to be flourish throughout the year. Only within a few months of the year, the agriculture will give you some kind of yield. Even in the hilly tribal remote areas where agriculture is become a difficult task, right? And the crop production in such a areas is very low, that is not even sufficient to fulfill the requirement of a family. So in that area, animal husbandry can be one of the best occupation. For the landless and marginal farmers, it is like the fortunate thing for sustaining livelihood. Okay, for the landless and marginal farmer, say a farmer is having a very small piece of a land. Okay, and in that small piece of a land, say for example a 1 acre of the land is there. In that 1 acre of a land, how much income will be generated by the farmer throughout the year? Say about 30 to 40,000. Just consider. Okay, now in that 30 to 40 thousands of the income, it become very difficult for the farmer to fulfill the family requirement. But in that 1 acre of the land, if a farmer is going to rear or going to construct the animal rearing house, anything for, like maybe goat farming, maybe cattle farming, or maybe poultry farming, anything else. Okay, now this person can get 40 to 50,000 earning from a that 1 acre of the plot per month. It is quite possible. Okay, so for the landless or a marginal farmer, this animal husbandry can be treated as one of the very good occupation or very good option. Now this sector provides a large self-employment opportunities. Okay, say we can take an example of the poultry. Okay, what are the poultry product? Poultry product are nothing but the poultry birds and eggs, right? If a proper marketing of the poultry is done, then it can give a good margin. So the person has not to work under anybody else. So the person can be their own boss. So it provides a large employment opportunities. Even that person who is going to establish the poultry house can even means what we say, can even provide employment to other people also, right? Then a single time investment is needed, and person can get benefit for life. Okay, so a single time investment, when it is needed? It is needed at the time of constructing and establishing poultry house, or constructing and establishing a animal house, any kind of it is. Say for example poultry house. So first of all, person has to construct the shed and then get some accessory material of the poultry like fodder, even food, okay, lights, and then poultry birds. This all investment is needed for the first time. Or you can say for example cattle farming. In the cattle farming, again construction of shed is there, then food requirement is there, and then purchasing of some cattles. Okay, so this is what the construction of a shed and the animals purchasing requires, means whatever investment is there, but that is one time, no, and that person can get benefit for life. Means inbreeding of those animal, that is cattle, or the, we can say birds, will going to give rise to young ones, and these young ones later on become adult and continue reproduction. So the person can get benefit for a life. Okay, and this is usually not affected by the market. Okay, all right, we can take an example for this point. Now tell me the price of milk right now we are getting, maybe 50 to 60 rupees per liter, right? This way is constant since few years, like 4 to 5 years. This price is almost constant. So this part is not going to affect by the market, right? Say eggs 4 to 5 rupees eggs per day. Okay, this is not again going to drop down. It is not like you will get eggs when market is down, you will get egg at 1 rupees or 2 rupees. No, not possible. So this animal husbandry business is not affected by the market. It remain, the prices remain constant usually. Then is it like there are only the benefits and no challenge is there in the animal husbandry business? No, there are some challenges faced by the animal rearer. Right? What are the challenges? Let's see them. Improper sanitation brings a diseased situation frequently. If sanitization or sanitation is not maintained properly, then that can bring about a diseased situation, because the eggs of most of the parasites, they pass through the urine as well as through the fecal matter, and if proper disposal is not there, this will going to attack, or this will may anyhow get entry into the body of another animal, and so the disease can spread easily in the animal rearing house. Next is, for the disinfection, large quantities of disinfectant and antibiotics are required. Latter, that causes water pollution. So in the animal rearing house, large number of animals are there, right? And for the disinfection, large quantity of disinfectants are there. Disinfectants are required. For vaccination or for any treatment, large quantity of antibiotics are required. Later on, excess amount of this disinfectant get washed out, and that latter causes the water pollution, right? Then untreated fecal matter causes foul odor that result in occurrence of flies and other insect. Yes, putrefying smell of the fecal material going to attract number of flies towards that area, and so these flies and insect will later on get migrated to animal bodies, right? So the next challenge is a huge infestation of flies and ticks occurs in the sheds and on the animals, which causes a disease problem. A huge infestation of flies. Okay, those flies which are supposed to be attracted because of the fecal matter, right, that get migrated on the animal bodies and can bite to the animal, can suck the animal blood and leaves the open wound. Later on, these open wounds get infected, or you can say bacteria or many other parasite, protozoan parasite, whatever it is, get entered into that open wound, and so the animal may suffer from diseases. Even ticks are the pest of domestic animals, right? And these ticks also responsible for causing disease in the domestic animals, say for example in the cattle, right? Ticks as a suck the blood of cattle and leave open wound. So tick is found to be the vector for disease Babesia, which is nothing but a red fluid oozing disease that is called as a red hemorrhagic disease of the cattle, produced by the protozoan parasite called as a Babesia, and this Babesia is found to be present in the ovaries of this tick, and so from one tick to the offspring of the tick, means from one tick to next it get transmitted, and when tick attached to the domestic animal or cattle body for getting their blood meal, this parasite get entry into that cattle, and ultimately the cattle suffers from diseases. Okay, now a foul odor released from the site is quite uncomfortable, that everybody knows. Okay, so insufficient knowledge is again one of the big challenge for animal rearing. Okay, insufficient knowledge regarding the habit of the birds, right? Insufficient knowledge regarding the requirement of the birds, that is maybe the means what we can say for example in the poultry. Okay, poultry birds need to provide rich diet. What rich diet? Calcium rich diet. It also need to be provided with a protein rich diet. Okay, and if this is not given, then ultimately whatever product is going to be there is not up to the mark, right? So sufficient knowledge regarding the requirement, food requirement, even inbreeding, how to inbreed them, which kind of animal should be selected for inbreeding, which one should not be selected. Okay, how one can identify the healthy animal, if some kind of disease is there, how it can be identified. Say for example, if a cattle is suffering from the tick infection, so the cattle is going to show some kind of irritating activity, maybe trying to scratch with the help of the horns, or maybe with the help of the foot. So these are the indication. The farmer or the animal rearer should have sufficient knowledge about everything. Then this business is not going to be a biggest challenge for them. Okay. Now, with this, thank you so much